And good afternoon. Today I'm going to be joined by Alex Santiago. He is a talented photographer that I know. He has spent a lot of time investing his knowledge in a group that I go to, and he's probably one of the best I know at sculpting light for portraits. And so, without further ado, I'm going to bring Alex on. Alex, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing fine, David. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. We're going to try this a second time and see if I can get the audio.
Okay.
uh, Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you like to shoot.
Okay. Well, I started photography because of a geocaching game in Colorado, and took me to many different places, and I've started seeing very beautiful landscape. And I decided, like, I need a camera. So once I got the camera and kept doing that, I had very good time for about 3 years in Colorado until I got moved to Houston. When I moved to Houston, there's no landscape. So
Well, there's flat
because of
concrete,
that,
right?
well, concrete is one thing, right?
Right.
But no rolling hills, no waterfalls to go and take pictures of. So I had to start learning how to photograph other things,
Okay.
models, people, portraits, and also was forced to learn to use lighting, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
one time picked up two speed lights and went to my friend and said, "Hey, so what do I do with this?" And my friend looked at me and was like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Oh, here we go." So I had to
Sweet.
start looking for books, videos, and anything else that I could do in order for me to learn how to use it. And now I ended up with 12 speed lights, four studio lights, brand new Godox 8200 Pro, and modifiers out the yin yang, and
Yeah.
I use all of it.
All right. Well, you're definitely one of the ones that has the largest lighting collection that I know, but more importantly, you know how to use it. So let's take a couple. Let's take a look at a couple of your images here. Um, so up first, I've got Desert Dreams, and now where did you find this exactly?
Okay, Desert Dream is an image that we took over at the Great Sand Dunes National Park and Reserve in Colorado,
Okay.
right? And the there was a trip that I did in September, and I had Diana Cruz come up and accompany me,
Okay.
and we took the trip and we headed up to Wyoming and came back to Colorado and started doing a loop in Colorado, and ended up our last stop was at the Great Sand Dunes National Park. During that time, I started putting out posts on Facebook pages asking models that I will be at certain place, certain day. If you want to photograph with me, let me know. So Jacqueline, who is the young lady that's in the picture, came up in contact with me, and she said that she wants to shoot, and I'm like, okay, so we'll get together and do this.
Mm-hmm.
So the young lady drove all the way from Santa Fe, New Mexico, to meet me over at the Great Sand Dunes for us to do the photo shoot. We planned it to the point where we were going to get the sunset. That's why you see the sun coming down from camera left towards her in
Okay.
nice golden light. And then I used the flash to fill in the shadow part, which is over on camera right.
Right.
Right. So with the sunlight, everything is just all locked into place. The only thing about it is that when you go over there, one thing that we didn't account for was for the wind. So I was laying down on the ground, and the sand is light, like in the desert,
Sure.
and the wind picked it up, and that sand was all over the place. I had sand in the camera, the lens.
Oh.
I, I had a fun time cleaning it, but the whole thing was that the images came out wonderful, and she was very happy with them. And lighting and the planning went fabulous because we didn't have any problems show up except for the wind.
Oh,
So
okay. It's kind of like shake and bake.
exactly.
Now, what do you use to plan your light when you're going out by day?
So when I go out by day, I got two applications that I can use. One is Photo Pills,
Okay.
right? And that one is very, very good for planning sunrise,
Yeah, I love that
sunset.
one as well.
Also look at augmented reality if you're going to look at where the Milky Way is going to be at,
Mm-hmm.
for the nighttime. And you can also see where certain constellations are going to be at with it if you're going to be doing astrophotography. The other one that I use the most and really enjoy because I've used it from when they first started was the photographer
Right.
ephemeris, the words, right? And they, with that, I always use it to plan at what time the sun is coming out, what time the sun is setting down, what time golden hour starts, when does blue light starts, in order for me to plan shots. Because a lot of these shots are mostly all luck. You hit or miss. It's a nice day. The sun's coming out. There's no clouds. Beautiful. If there's a little bit of clouds, beautiful. But a lot other times you go there, the clouds are there. But if you can determine where the sun is going to be coming from, at what angle, you can then set your shoot at a position where you can capitalize on that type of light.
Sure. So I have Pirate Girl up right now, and um, tell me about how you planned for that scene. There's got to be a story behind this.
So Pirate Girl was one that was a photography event that we had, and the group was planning on being there at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And I got invited to the group to do this event, and I was one of the last photographers to sign up. And I contacted the coordinator and said, "Why are we shooting at 7 o'clock in the morning? Golden light starts at 5:45 in the morning, and you have about a good 30 minutes of very beautiful light to shoot."
Sure. Yeah.
So he said, "Well, contact the models if they want to show up earlier, then we'll do that." So I contacted a couple models, and some of them were like, "No, I'm going to be there a little later." But
Okay.
this young lady and her boyfriend both were there when I arrived. And when I started seeing the sun, I'm like, "Okay, I need you guys to come with me. Let's go over here. Hurry up, hurry up. Let's do this because that light's going to be wonderful." And people were looking at me because I had her standing with the sun behind her, and everybody thought that I was trying to shoot a silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
But when I turned on the flash and took the picture, I ended up with that image right there. Um, the thing about it is that the artificial light, the speed lights, is a blue colored light. It's more white, but with the contrast of that orange, it's going to be looking like kind of blue. So I had to use a gel to match the same color tone as the the sunrise light, right?
Right.
And get the tone just the way that it is right there.
Okay. So, are you using color temperature orange, like 7,500 Kelvin?
I'm using color temperature orange at 1/4 stop.
Gotcha.
Right? Color temperature orange comes in three settings: 1/4, half stops, and full stops. Right.
Got
At
it.
the time that the sun was coming out, it was more of a 1/4 stop, and so I just gelled all four flashes and shot the person that way.
Awesome. I mean, that looks that, that's great. A lot of people, they see something like this and they think that you did it in Photoshop. And the thing is I know that this is what you get to see on the back of your camera when you're on location. And anybody can, spend 30 or 40 hours eventually taking something in Photoshop and making it into what they want it to look like. But it's a true art to actually get this on location.
Oh yes, and especially anybody that knows me, they know that I run away from Photoshop.
Yeah, yeah, I know. All right, so let's look at the Viking. Tell us a little bit about this one.
Okay,
And where
the
did you
bike.
find this guy?
I found him at the Renaissance Festival. Since I arrived to Texas, to Houston,
Mm-hmm.
right? I started going to the Renaissance Festival, and I started doing photography with natural light. Then when I started with the speed lights, started using the speed lights. Then I went to 2 speed lights, went to 3 speed lights, and then 4. But the real funny thing that happened is that people started noticing the pictures when I posted it on the website, and onto the Renaissance Festival Friends website. And I've started getting requests from people. Hey, do you still have my picture? Can I have it? So I go over there and take pictures of people, and mostly it's for fun and for me to practice, because a lot of times when you want to practice shooting, and you want to practice a skill, right? Mm-hmm. You have to find a model. You have to find somebody that's willing to do it. And my son doesn't want to pose for me. My next door neighbor doesn't want to pose for me. So what option do I have? So the Renaissance gives me a very good chance for me to practice. The fun thing about it is when you see people that put in that amount of work. If you look at the Viking person, the amount of work and detail that he put into it should have been recorded. It should be photographed. And here's the thing about that one. I use a monopod with an S bracket that can hold 5 speed lights, and I only have 4 speed lights on. Right.
Wow.
So the reason that I have the 4 speed lights is because all light is additive. So you end up with a larger light. And remember what they say, the larger the light, the closer the light, the softer the light. Additional to that, if you want to go, let's say you go with me and shoot, and you're using 1 speed light, you have to use 1-to-1 power. You're using up the battery a lot faster.
Right.
To get 1-to-1 power, I have to put every speed light at 1/4 power because it's additive. So I get the same amount of light that you get in a wider circle and a lot softer than what you're getting with a little small. And I don't use the batteries as much. It is not common. I mean, it is not common to see me change, right, batteries during one day at the Renaissance if I'm shooting all day.
Wow.
Because one set of batteries, depending on what I'm shooting and how I'm shooting, will last me all day.
This message brought to you by Duracell.
And so this gentleman, I saw him, and I decided I really want to take his picture. So I contacted him, called him over, and told him what I wanted to do. And I stood him in an area because everybody that sees that picture believes that it is a picture that was taken at night, and it wasn't at night. This was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, approximately 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, in an open area, full daylight, right? And I got that picture with no Photoshop being done. Like I said, I have Photoshop. I don't want to use it as much as possible. So what you do in order for you to get this is that you close down the aperture of the camera, let's say like f/16, so the aperture can be very small, and not a lot of light will come in through the lens. The other thing that you do is speed up the shutter to the sync speed, the synchronization speed with the flash. That would be anywhere between 1/60th of a second to 1/200th of a second. Right? So when you take the picture without the flash, everything's going to be black.
Got it.
Now you turn on the flash, and the flash will illuminate, and whatever is illuminated, the camera's going to be able to take the picture. So I had him illuminated, and I did it in a way that I pulled the light further away from him in order for him to look the way that he comes out, because that is harsh lighting on him. With all the details and everything, you don't want to use soft light on the character, because when you go over there to shoot at the Renaissance Festival, you're shooting for the character. You're not shooting for the person.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? So that, depending on the character that you're doing and what you have surrounding him, is the type of lighting that you should do. Right? So trust me, he didn't want to have very soft light on him, especially when he's there that wants to be mean and looking like a killer.
Yeah, these are strong photos. They're not supposed to be like prissy model, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's like you take a person that drives a Harley Davidson and you come up and dress him up in pink. Please, people that drives Harley Davidson, if you drive with pink clothing, I'm not saying this to offend you, okay?
You know. All right, so let's look at Forest Princess. My understanding is this one is also from the Renfest.
That is correct. That's at the Ren Fest. And to make it more interesting, it was 5 minutes after I took the picture of the Viking
Okay.
in the same location.
Really?
Yes. So with this one, what I did was I had the same settings, right?
Okay.
But what I did is slow down the shutter speed in order to permit ambient light so that I can get the separation of her from the background. So that's why you see the background kind of be very, how do you say that? It's kind of dark,
Right.
right? You still notice different colors and all that stuff. And I came up and used the light, and I brought the light closer to her,
Okay.
right? So I can get that nice soft light on her. And it really helps that the model had very flawless skin. That's one thing. And her makeup was done very nicely and everything. And that she works over there at the leather shop that's in the Renaissance Festival. But the whole thing was that this shot took less than 5 minutes to take.
Oh, wow.
You know?
Okay.
From the moment that she stood there to the moment I put the light, I came up and measured the light, took the picture, and it's like, here it is. Yeah. I took 3 more pictures in different poses and everything, but this one was the best of all of them. And it's just like, because when I go to the Renaissance Festival, we also play a game. Anybody that goes with me, we play a game.
Okay.
3 shots, you're out. Right?
Oh.
So what it is that you got to get the shot within 3 shots. Right? Okay. Because everybody's there to go and have fun. They're not there for you to come up and stop them and spend 30 minutes or to 1 hour photographing them or trying to get a photo,
sure,
right?
Absolutely.
Because they're going to get frustrated. But if I don't get it within 3 shots, I'm like, thank you for your time and everything, and I just walk away, right? But the thing about it is, right, that if you're doing more than 3 shots and you're not hired, you're doing a mini shoot for free.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? And all I want to do is get 1 shot so I can give it to them, and if then later on they want to contact me to set up a photo shoot or anything, then we can do that. But most of this was all for me to practice because, like I said, if you want to practice with people and want to practice new skills, go to the Renaissance Festival because you're going to find that 9 out of 10 people love what they do and they want to get photographed.
Yeah. So, in the next week or two, a lot of us are going to be hanging out around the house. You want to tell us what you're planning to do?
I'm planning to do more. What do you call still photo? Still, how do you call this?
Still life?
Fruits, still life. Thank you. All right, and more to improve. Refining more of, let's say, macros.
Yeah.
Taking macros and everything, because my son, I know my son doesn't want me to photograph him.
Right.
My dog, she already moved away from the seat where she's at right now because she's hearing. If I pull out the camera, she just runs and hides. But she's not a photogenic. She doesn't think she's photogenic, but the whole thing is trying to continue doing something. As a matter of fact, get miniatures, take pictures of miniatures. You can come up and take pictures of like a little toy, right? Or you set up a little scene, with a little cars and things, and just try to take pictures as much as possible. Or, like I said before, I don't like Photoshop, so I'm going to end up coming up in the video course that I got for Photoshop. I might have to sit down and go through it and just bite the bullet on this one.
Well, I mean,
we're going to have the time.
Got the time, It's probably more productive than me getting an Xbox and playing Modern Warfare, right?
I don't know. If you were talking about Halo, I might think about that.
All right, Alex. Well, I appreciate you joining me this afternoon, and hopefully we can have you back, talk about something, a skill, a specific skill down the road, because you teach a lot with F-22 out in Sugar Land. I know you have a lot of things that you could share. So hopefully you'll join me again.
All right. And if you can, any question, if you want a specific subject, let me know and we can plan ahead with that.
Yeah, and if if somebody wants to comment and you have something that you want us to address, if you have a question, please post your comment, and we'll get around to answering that, either me and Alex or whoever we have going on. But thanks again for hanging out, Alex. I've really enjoyed it.
All right.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
All right, man. And
Okay.
see you next time.
All righty.